Marty, I've seen you recently.
Too much of me.
Okay, so I was in Calgary and it was a lot of fun. I was actually you're just outside of Cochrane. You're not actually you're in between. You're somewhere in
Yeah.
between. And it was good fun. We went to the We Unify conference, it was technically 3 days, but it was 3 days in a dinner. That's what we did. And it was a lot of fun. I got to host the event. I was the master of ceremonies, which for me was a whole new experience and crazy. But we'll get into that in a minute. I got to go shooting with Marty. That was the highlight of the trip. Absolutely. That was the best part. That was great.
Well, it was a good. I'm glad you liked it. I mean, the conference was pretty awesome. But yeah, I took Clyde, and Clyde came down with UG. I think UG is known to the channel, right? Like,
I'm pretty sure UG makes the coffee. If anybody wants to go to ClydeDoSomething.com, UG is the master roaster who makes the coffee. He's also the one who runs the merchandise store, and he's a really great friend of mine.
yeah, he's a great friend, and so Clyde and UG, I offered them to. Of course, I'm not going to let somebody come to Calgary and not crash on my place. You guys came and crashed on my place, and UG brought me a nice whiskey. So I'm gonna pour. He's a Yuji's got a Japanese background, so I'm gonna pour myself a whiskey while you talk. But no, I took Clyde and Yuji to the gun range. I'm a range officer, and I know Clyde loves firearms, guns. I'll say guns. I mean,
Yeah.
I hate changing my language now. I'm playing into it's appropriate for today's topics. It is a gun. Okay, it's a gun. So I took Clyde and Yuji to the gun range, and Clyde loves guns, and I've been shooting with Clyde. You and I went shooting in Austin, Texas, but shooting
Mhm.
at an indoor range where you just roll the paper targets out and shoot at them. That's okay. It's good practice. But I took them out, and you got to wear a holster, and I think that was probably the first time you've ever worn a holster.
Yeah, it's the first time.
And yeah, and for people who are watching, you might not appreciate this, but out at a gun range where we are, a holster is the most. Everybody feels better when you're walking around with your firearm, when your gun in a holster.
Hmm.
It's counterintuitive, but it is we have protocols, and you unload and you put your gun in your holster and your magazines on the other side, and we walk around safe. Nobody likes, like somebody who comes to the gun range for the first time and doesn't have a holster, they end up having to put their gun on the table unattended, kind of thing, and then everybody's walking around, and then you have a gun on the table. Nobody likes that, right? So
No.
so a holster is preferred. And so I put Clyde and Yuji through a couple of standard drills, shooting at targets, moving while shooting, reloading, and stuff like that. So we had a great time. I mean, we went through. I brought what did I bring? Over 400 rounds of ammunition. You guys went through all of that in like an hour. It doesn't take long, does it? It's an expensive hobby.
It is
Expensive
an
hobby.
expensive hobby, absolutely. But it's worthwhile because you're learning practical skills. Like we're not talking about I mean, I was gonna say crocheting, but crocheting is a practical skill too. But like it's a practical skill. You're not playing video games. You're actually out there. You're learning how to move safely with a firearm. You're always muzzle down range, all that kind of stuff, or in a safe direction. And popping off rounds, having fun, but you're doing it in a way where other people are scrutinizing your every move. And
Yeah.
that's the best part is, when you have that kind of practice and you have people pointing out all the flaws of what you're doing all the time, you get better at it and you get safer at it. And I think there's nothing better than this.
And I think I know you have an appreciation for the safety around the sport from when you do it at home and in Texas, and I think you got an appreciation for it when we do it here, right?
Mhm.
It's all about safety, and coincidentally,
Oh, we lost your audio again. There it goes. One more time. This is gonna be a challenge until we figure out how to fix this, but we'll get that. But yeah, about the safety, that's paramount. It's number one.
yeah,
Even with my kids when they're playing with Nerf guns and stuff, I'm always like, whoa, don't point the muzzle in a direction. I'm keeping them about like finger on the trigger only when you want to fire. Always out of the trigger group until you're ready to do that. It's important.
But the other thing I wanted to say is when we were there, we had limited time. We had to get off the range because they were setting up for a competition. I kind of wish you had been there on a day where you could see the competition and see who participates in the competition. And this is a great segue to what we're going to talk about with the gun confiscation. But
Mhm.
I live in a town in a province. Actually, the whole country has a good, solid gun culture. Let's be honest. There's a good gun culture. And if you had been there for the competition, you would have noticed the members of my club. They're lawyers, they're mechanics, they're law enforcement people. They're actually, when we were leaving, there was a couple, man and woman showed up, right? So the gun community is not what most people assume.
Mhm.
Like it's one of the most law-abiding segment of our society, and what the minister, the chipmunk minister, is doing this week is, let's segue right into that. I think the gun ban is completely unnecessary, ineffective, a waste of money, and then the minister got caught almost admitting those things on audio this week.
That's right. Well, he got caught saying this. What was it to his tenant?
Yep.
He was speaking with his tenant, and I heard somebody say this. If you're ever speaking with your landlord, make sure you're recording the conversation. That was a great bit of advice. Yeah, if you're ever with your landlord and you want to make sure that he's being trustworthy, record the conversations. But and I check with the legality of that. I'm pretty sure we're a single party consent country, depending on where you are. I'd check with the legality of it, but always just to make sure. But he got caught saying what it is, that he thinks that it's not really a necessary thing. It's not really worth pushing forward because it's a political thing.
He basically said it landed on his lap, right? The gun ban goes back to 2022, so it's about 3 years. The Liberals imposed the gun ban, and then had no idea how they're gonna quote unquote confiscate the guns from people. They're saying it's a buyback. You can't buy something you didn't sell to me, so it's a confiscation. And the minister basically said it landed on his lap. It's ineffective, and he'd kind of like it to go away, but he can't make it go away because apparently the voters in Quebec want it. And behind the scenes today, I got in touch with a whole bunch of people in Quebec
So
who
ban
told
him in
me
Quebec.
ban him in Quebec. But even
I
even
hate.
Quebecers said they don't want it. They don't want it. It's let's not fool ourselves. It's a small lobby group that wants it. It's
But
not
here's
the
the
general
thing.
population.
It drives me nuts because in Canada they're able to do sweeping bans like this. Like in the United States, for example, if they wanted to, do a municipal ban, they can do that. They can do that, and guess what? There are a bunch of places in the United States that have done that. They just happen to be, I don't know if maybe there's a coincidence, the most rampant places where gun crime exists. I don't know. Throw a correlation out there. Maybe it's causation. Tell me that I'm wrong. I don't know. But it just happens to be that all the places where guns are absolutely banned in the United States is where all the gun crime happens. It's crazy, though, that the federal government feel that they're allowed to make this sweeping ban across the nation, across the whole nation. Now, other people don't agree with this, including, well, your premier in Alberta, Danielle Smith. She's on the record saying that this is not something that she endorses, and she has some other answers for this. I'll play the short clip here as she says this.
We told the municipalities, no, you can't have a handgun ban. We told the RCMP, no, you cannot participate in the confiscation scheme. We've told our sheriffs that. We have told municipal forces, if you want to participate in the confiscation scheme, you have to come and get a permit from the justice minister, and I have it on good authority. He will not say yes. The proper use of the criminal code power is the way the feds will regulate around, for instance, vehicular homicide. Like, there are ways that you can use your car that kill people, and they look at that as a criminal penalty and they charge you. But you know what they don't do? They don't come in and say, red cars have a disproportionate number of accidents, therefore we're going to ban red cars and confiscate them, right? They're able to see that there is one use of that particular piece of property that is criminal, and they let us regulate who gets a driver's license and who registers a car. So I'm just going to take that analogy a little bit further. They can regulate the criminal use of firearms, and We will then regulate the legal use of firearms so you can continue to own them, collect them, use them for sport shooting, use them for hunting, and use them for other purposes. So we're working right now on what a legislative framework for an Alberta firearms license would look like, and we're going to fight it out. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe said.
So that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Now that's not what the federal government feels is going to happen. They think that they're just going to roll.
By the way, I love our premier when she speaks like this. I would love her even more if she quickly did what she's saying she's going to do. Like, she's got it all figured out. Danielle Smith, you got it all figured out. Please
do it.
Hit the gas and do it real quick. So, but we got more time today. The minister, the Ottawa knows this is unpopular, right? So now they rolled out a program. They rolled out the Buyback program in Cape Breton, in a very, very small area. And apparently, like, this is how ridiculously small this is, Clyde. In Cape Breton, on record, there's 200 banned firearms. 200. Like, across the country, there's probably 1.2 million, 1.3 million banned firearms by many estimates. There's 200 in Cape Breton. So
I'm going to come out and say it. I'm going to come out and say it. This is unfair, and I think it should be unconstitutional. To only roll out, if you roll out a law, you need to enforce it countrywide first day, or not at all. You can't do this. You can't discriminate. Oh, these people only have a bit of that, so we're going to roll it out here. We're going to try it out. We're going to experiment with this and see if it works or it doesn't. And then what? If it doesn't work, you're gonna give back the property to those people? No. One or nothing at all. I think this is absolute BS, and
you and I are we're in violent agreement on this. I totally agree, but this is an okay alternative. They're going to try it in Cape Breton. I hope people in Cape Breton know smarter than this and resist it. And then every little bit of resistance is another topic we're going to talk about today, right? Resistance is not futile. So if the people in Cape Breton say bullshit, then hopefully the Liberals will continue to pause and reconsider this. Why
not Brampton, Ontario? Why not start there? Oh, we lost your audio. We fixed the audio. But the idea is, like, why not Brampton? If the most amount of crime is happening in these areas, like Brampton, perhaps Jane and Finch area of Toronto, like all these areas, right downtown YVR, Vancouver. Why don't you start there instead of starting in small town mom and pop? There's only a few guns happening.
So were you baiting me on that question? Because there's a very valid reason why they're starting in Cape Breton.
No, I wasn't baiting you, but
the police chief in the area who's going to do this is the cousin of one. He's like Miller's cousin or whatever. There's a connection. So there's a connection to our chief. What's Miller's name? What's Miller's title officially? He's the
Justice Minister.
Yeah, he's Justice Minister. So there's a relationship there. So they found a patsy. They found a police chief who's like, sure, I'll try this. But like if they tried to, Brampton would be a great case. Yes, if they're try it out somewhere where there's a lot of violence. But they weren't going to try it here in Alberta. There's no way they'd try it in Alberta. Everybody would have told them to go pound sand.
Well, they wouldn't try it in Surrey, British Columbia, because everybody would tell them to pound sand there too. And who'd be telling them to pound sand? Criminals that aren't worried about having to pull them out and use them because these aren't lawful people. Like a lot of them, not to say that nobody in Surrey lawfully owns firearms, but there's probably a tremendous amount of criminals there that have firearms that are not legal. But it seems like they're not really going after that. Where are the attempts to really thwart that? Like the people that are bringing over fully automatic submachine guns and things like that, and they're using them in crimes. But hey, let's go after Grandpa Joe with his hunting rifle, or Marty up north that likes to do IPSC shooting drills as a pastime for safety and learning a skill.
No, this is completely flawed, and people are waking up to it, which is good. I'm glad people are waking up. By the way, they published their compensation tables. Like, a typical banned firearm that people purchase for $1,000, they're going to offer $150 for it. Like,
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I saw some of the lists, like they had like a Daniel Defense AR-15 for like, I think they were giving like $700 for it.
Yeah.
It's like a $3,000 gun. You know what I
The
mean?
list is actually ridiculous, right? When you go through, even today, as they published it, they like on the short list they published, there was a 40 millimeter grenade launcher. Like, who has one of those? like they banned everything, you know?
This is how far out of touch they are. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So have they banned handguns? I know they've taken away the ability to transfer them, but is this like
they're not banned. Like the ones I have, like, remember when you came to the range with me the other day and I was cursing that little green one that I absolutely hate? I
Yeah.
can't sell it. I can't do anything with it. Like I can keep owning it and using it. I hate it, but I can't sell it. I would never sell it to anyone. That'd be so mean to sell it. Like I should. That's one I should. If that one was on a banned list, I would turn it in. It's like, oh, $150 here, you can have it. I'll take the 150 for it.
just a crap gun. So they did their whatever press conference today, and there's a couple of clips here. Might as well show them. So this is I don't know what's his name. Gary, I can't pronounce his last name. Can somebody help out with this? And Sagari, I don't know. I can't say that, but either way, here's his press conference. This is a highlight.
How is this? You say that the program is voluntary, but after the amnesty ends, the people are not in compliance with the law. So how is this truly voluntary?
So Canadians starting in Cape Breton today will be able to enroll in the program, be able to get compensated if they were to turn their firearm in, or they will be able to get compensation if they deactivate and confirm that it's deactivated with a certificate. So it is strictly voluntary. Nobody is being forced to undertake.
No one's being forced, Marty.
Program. Well, the expectation is that they will comply, and the order in council, as you know, is being extended from this October to October of 2026. So there is a 1-year window. Our expectations is that law-abiding citizens will abide by the law, and beyond that, the police of jurisdiction has to, as you know, implement the criminal code.
At what point are you not? Will you become not a law-abiding citizen?
Well, no. Like look at that. Like look at that. Like he's like, I expect you to comply with the law. Okay, so he's made a default position that he expects Canadians to comply with the law. That's great. I love that. That's a great point. Well, guess what, Minister? You passed a law. You passed many laws that said if I buy this firearm, I'm only allowed to use it at a gun range, which you and I did. So do you expect me to comply with the law or not? When he banned the firearms from me, he's basically saying, well, I don't think Canadians will comply with the laws. The laws are clear. I can own it. I can only use it at a gun range. I can't use it to kill people. Like there's a whole ton of laws around firearms, and
there's one that kind of predates that one. That's when they made murder illegal.
Exactly.
You know?
So why am I expected to comply with this law, but somehow or other you don't give me the benefit of the doubt of complying with the existing law? Like he's doing mental gymnastics. He's doing complete mental gymnastics to justify something that's silly. And at the end of the day, I want to bring this up, right? Years ago, like right now, they're saying that the gun buyback will be $700 million. Okay. Years ago in the 1990s, we had a long gun registry. And when they came out with the long gun registry, they said, oh, $20 million and that's all it's going to cost. That thing ballooned to like a $2 billion fiasco, like 100 times more than they had budgeted. So
the only purpose was to note down who had what so that they can come get them.
But my point is, when the government creates a program, it's never what they say it's going to cost. Like look at ArriveCam, right? That was supposed to be 60,000, end up being 80 million. So if the government thinks they're going to confiscate firearms for a mere $700 million, what do you think the final bill, if they were successful, never mind everything else, this is just going to bleed money, man, for nothing.
Oh, it's going to be massive. It's going to be massive. And I want to focus on, I got clips showing just how much they keep calling it voluntary. And this is this narrative that it's a voluntary thing. Again, more with it's not actually voluntary.
This program is really a way to help lawful gun owners stay in compliance with the law. We see this as giving them an opportunity to surrender what they are no longer allowed to possess, to prevent criminal liability, and to demonstrate that this can be an effective process for removing dangerous firearms from our community.
Of course, because those are the dangerous firearms, the ones that Canadian illegal firearms owners have. This is another clip from that conference.
Right now in Canada, there's some people with bad intentions who have in their house prohibited or non-restricted or restricted weapons without fair licensing. But the policeman is not knocking at every door to check what is in the hand of each Canadian. They are seized when they are moved, when there's an event. So it would be the same. But all of the people in possession of one of the weapons that has been banned since 2020 and who will not participate in the compensation program will have an illegal gun in its possession, and that's a criminal act.
All right, thank you very much, everyone.
That's a criminal act, Marty. So this is they're I mean, they're not even beating around the bush in that one. They're making law-abiding citizens criminals by just possessing their own property and not handing it over. And that's exactly what that is.
And by all estimates, it's about 1.2 million people. It's guys like me, 1.2 million people, guys like me, like engineers, doctors, lawyers, mechanics, teachers, 1.2 million people who up until now followed the law. Like the gun community is one of the craziest, most law-abiding communities. Like the steps necessary to acquire a firearm is insane, and people will do it. So yeah, they're going to turn millions of us into criminals, and they realize that, which is why they extended the amnesty. I mean, with all of this going on, they extended the amnesty by a whole other year. So yeah, well, you know, and the timing of this couldn't come at a better time, right? Them saying like, oh, this. Look at the events of the. I mean, do we want to jump into the ostrich farm? I think we should.
Wait, so you telling me that they've extended it again? They just extended it, or
they have no choice? Yeah, they extended it. I tweeted about that. I found that the minister mentioned it. The minister said we will extend it for a whole year. He mentioned it in verbally.
But they're starting to roll out the buyback at the same time as an amnesty has been granted.
They have to keep granting an amnesty because they can't buy back all the guns in one shot, no matter how fast.
I think all of those people in that test area should just say no. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have this gun. You say
they have nothing to lose by saying no. They have absolutely nothing to lose. I'll be mentioning this over and over in the coming weeks. They have nothing to lose by saying no because the amnesty is extended, and by saying no, they show a form of resistance, and the government will have to reconsider. But yes,
and they break no laws, and they break no laws.
They break no laws. What they're going to threaten them
don't
with,
hand them over straight up. Just don't hand them over.
They're going to threaten them with the fact that, oh, there's a period, you know, and if you don't buy it, the deal's off the table. No, they can't do that. Like you said, they can't have a set of law for the poor people in Cape Breton during the test, and then another set of laws for us afterwards. Like it's so convoluted, Clyde. It's so convoluted. It's insanely convoluted.
They think it's going to roll out like Australia, like everyone's just going to hand it over, hey?
Yeah, and not here, man. I mean, I hope people are waking up because we've had too many. I've said this. We've had too many shows of force of our government in the last 3 years. Like, keep your guns, folks. Keep your guns. Like, I'm not advocating violence, but I'm saying an unarmed population is a population that is extremely vulnerable. Keep your guns. Yeah,
absolutely. And like when it happened in Australia, it was in relative peacetime. There was no, hard pushes from their government to do anything. They banned guns, and a docile population just stupidly went along with it. Now here we are in Canada, where like you just said, they've shown force over the years in many instances, forcing people to lock down, putting people in forced quarantine camps, forcing people into like awful situations there where all kinds of crimes were being perpetrated against people in those camps. Again, people went to Ottawa. They were told to leave, and then they were beaten up. Emergency was declared, and then they were beaten up for that. There's so many cases, and now this one, the recent one, the ostriches. So for those that have had their head in the sand, that's a dumb pun. but there's a story in British Columbia of this ostrich farm where they're not okay. So I spoke to the owners of this farm, and when they first started getting going on it, they thought, hey, maybe we'll get into selling ostrich meat. But then quickly it changed. They got in touch with some researchers, and they ended up getting into the research segment, or the research, making it a research facility. And then they grew the flock that they had. Like, it's crazy to think of ostriches as a flock. It's like a herd, right? They're giant animals. But I didn't know this until I had an interview with the owner of the farm, and she was telling me about just how amazing these animals are when it comes to studying immunity. They have crazy immune systems, and I guess they haven't evolved much since like the dinosaur days. So they've been largely the same for millions of years, and they didn't have to evolve because their immune system was so great. They survived all of these things that would have been devastating to their population.
Actually, just to add context, birds are some of the last animals to evolve, right? Like, we went from fish to reptiles to mammals to birds. So birds are kind of like, on the evolutionary scale, they're some of the most sophisticated creatures to have ever evolved on Earth. So they're way up there, and the ostriches are in that category. I mean, they're descendants of there's a lot of documentaries. Birds are actually incredible. We just sort of think as birds as being sort of weak, but birds are, when you think of eagles and other species like the raptors and the ostriches, they're very sophisticated animals. So yes, they have an immune system on steroids.
Bring up the Australians again. The Australians, they had a war. I think the only war that they ever were involved in on their own soil, and it was against emus, and they lost. They lost that war. It's such a joke, but emus are like tiny ostriches with like armored plates. It's crazy, but anyway, these animals.
So the ostrich farm went sideways, right? Somehow or other, they had a couple of birds got sick, a couple of birds died. And the normal protocol in some instances is for the whole herd to be culled. And this is,
but that's a foul. So this is a foul protocol.
Totally,
it's food. Food.
Totally.
And these animals are not bred for food. So there's a lot of extenuating circumstances in this situation. They're not bred for food, so it's not like chickens. And in fact, I saw a headline from the U.S. where they said 166 million chickens were culled last year because of bird flu, avian flu.
Yep.
Maybe there's another way to do this. Maybe that's not the right way to do this. And they've been asking this question in the United States. And even though this is a protocol, it's a different situation. They're not bred for food, so that you don't have to worry about it going out into the public, infected, avian flu infected poultry or anything like that. These birds are there for research, and guess what? They're there for immunology research. They're researching immune systems, and they're specifically, they were researching how to find inoculations for avian flu. And the fact that some of these birds caught avian flu from wild birds, migratory birds, or what have you, the fact that they survived it, and that they would now have the immune system and the antibodies that they could share. And the beauty thing is, it's not like other animals where you have to kill the animal to get the antibodies. They lay 4-pound eggs that are full of them every couple of days. It's crazy. And it only makes you think, is there an ulterior thing going on here other than we're just following orders? Perhaps a pharmaceutical company that's worried about something else getting out there that could thwart some of the research that they put into the products that they're trying to put on the market.
Oh, I guarantee there's an ulterior.
Oh, lost your audio again. That's number 4 for this time. We're gonna get to the bottom of that. But yeah, there's got to be an ulterior motive there, because there's so much money to be made, and there's not a lot of money to be made when an ostrich drops a 4-pound package of this stuff every couple of days.
I lose my audio when I'm about to talk. I need to lose the audio while you're talking. But what I was going to say is there's a component. There's a big pharma component. I have no doubt about that. But I made a video today or yesterday that got a lot of attention from a lot of people.
I republished that this morning on my channel because I was like, I wanted more people to see this.
There's this is a microcosm of a lot of things that are wrong in this country, right? Like, I mean, people like I've talked to a lot of people and they said, oh, the rules. They broke the rules. I'm like, the rules in this country, folks, like are seldom legal anymore. I mean, we got bureaucrats making rules instead of politicians, right? The politicians have advocated or have whatever the word is. They've passed on their rule making to the senior bureaucrats. And so, and there's no control. So I don't even trust the rules. And then we've shown repeatedly in this country that if you challenge the rules, and the government says nope, you're wrong, you have no recourse. Like, you can go to the courts. The courts are corrupted. They're compromised. They're not on board, and I mean, and then it just escalates from there. So we have that here. We have a farm that tried to pivot to do something different. Somebody said nope, the rules don't apply. They pleaded for some common sense approach. The bureaucrats said nope. They went to court. The court said nope. And so then the state then launches its full force and to force us to comply. And so, I mean, we saw that this week. Like, there's 40 cars bearing down on this farm with officers and people. And then they're so, and if the government thought that what they were doing was moral and right, then they would do it transparently and they wouldn't care. They wouldn't be hiding behind bales and behind fences and trying to do it at night and everything else. So
That's right.
it's an extremely complicated story, and I'm trying to get people to not get focused on one part of the story. You know, the one I hear more often than not is, well, they broke the rule. Like, folks, like that's a lot of rules need to be challenged, and then we're living in a country where we can't even challenge the rules anymore.
But what's the rule? If you have birds and one of your birds catches bird flu, then you have to murder all your birds. Like, that's
the current rule.
That's the rule. So when you say, oh, they broke the rule, well, that's an unreasonable rule.
Completely.
It's absolutely unreasonable.
Completely.
And especially with animals. Like, you want to talk about that's how it is with chickens, an animal that lives for 90 days. Or then you want to talk about that for a animal that lives for 50 to 90 years. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
these are large animals. You can't just, replenish your flock.
The Calgary Zoo. Yeah, the Calgary Zoo here has a population of penguins. 20 penguins. The Calgary Zoo has 43 baboons. The marine land in BC has 37 belugas. So are you telling me that if one beluga at the marine land gets sick, or one penguin at the Calgary Zoo gets sick, hey, let's just call the whole herd? What's different from the zoo? Like you said, I can understand a chicken that we're going to eat. I get it, right? And a chicken lives 62 days. But a 35-year-old ostrich got sick. They killed it. They isolated the rest. And I think that's the crux of this whole thing, is this farm is challenging the rule, and they got ruled against by bureaucrats, and you have no recourse. Now the state is bearing down with its full force to get us to get the farm and de facto us to comply.
And so I was getting message after message after message. Clyde, you need to get on social media and you need to start pressuring Pierre Poilievre to do something about it. And so I tweeted about this. I had to. And I said, please stop asking me to put social media pressure on Pierre Poilievre to talk about the ostriches. We all know how this will go. He'll only mention it once it's too late, and if he does it at all. I'm sick and tired of chasing after the guy to do the right thing. I'm tired of it. And of course, immediately I got comment after comment after comment of, well, it's not really his job to bring this up. This isn't his thing. And I gotta say to people, people would say, if you want to go after the government for this, go after the Liberal government. To that, I say, you know what? If only there was a group of representative, MPs that's job it is to oppose the sitting government. If only that were a thing, perhaps I'd talk to one of them. Oh wait, that is
Yeah.
Pierre in the opposition. So I'm really tired of trying to get those people to do the right thing. They clearly don't want to. I'm over it. I'm gonna go elsewhere. I'm gonna just raise attention to everybody else and say forget it. Like he clearly had all the opportunity himself. It's not like it's not news and it's not out there. It is. And especially if you're a politician that keeps talking about being about farmers, and especially when you just ran in the West, you ran in Alberta and you're saying that you're there for farmers and you're not there for farmers. I mean, you're just showing us where you are. That's all that says to me. So I'm not going to put my faith in that.
Yeah,
That's
and we're
it.
not asking for a lot, right? I mean, that was like just a comment. I mean, that was the other part of my rant today or yesterday. This is an event, folks. Like, I don't care. Like, if 40 cops showed up at a drug bust, or if 40 cops were retained to look after a missing child, or whatever, 40 cops, 40 police officers are somewhere. And then there's protesters, and then there's a campaign online, and then there's the government involved and the courts involved. I'm sorry, folks, this is the definition of a story that the media should be following, and that politicians should be paying attention. And I got community noted for saying that there's no media attention to this. Folks, there's no media attention to this. Like, the CBC today made a story. It
Only
said
after.
Only after. And they didn't investigate. They said 2 people at the farm got arrested. Yeah, because you found that out for listening on the radio or from somewhere else. But the CBC didn't send somebody to investigate properly. So
Rebel News did. Rebel News.
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
no, that's not mainstream. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, Rebels. Drea Humphreys and Sheila have been there on site, and Right Blend, and a whole bunch of people are there. They're are covering it.
I think JC Media is there as well. He's
yeah,
on
and
top of
Mocha
it.
covered it for a while. I'm so thankful to those people.
Absolutely.
But what we're asking of Pierre or somebody is just show up. Just show up.
Acknowledge it. Just acknowledge it. You don't even have to leave Ottawa. Like, just acknowledge it.
I mean, we had one MP from the region finally speak up about it in the House of Commons. Thankfully, hey, great. An MP from British Columbia finally said something. I mean, like, wow. Yeah. If we were, I mean, as in comparison, let's put this in comparison. This was an awesome comparison. Last year or earlier this year, the state of New York killed a squirrel. Remember the squirrel?
Boy, yes.
There was a family in New York that had adopted a squirrel, and some bureaucrat said, you can't adopt a squirrel. You can't adopt a squirrel. And so the state of New York, with force, took away a squirrel and then euthanized a squirrel, and the U.S. went bonkers. So
as they should. I mean,
yes,
go bonkers. When the state's busting down your door to get a squirrel, go bonkers. They've overreached. You've gone too far. That's when we go bonkers. And this is what we should be going bonkers about. But instead, like, when I bring this up on the internet, and actually I brought it up in the negative. I said, I'm not going to go after Pierre for this. And everyone's, you brought up Pierre and this story in the same place. And I'm getting comments like this. Like, I have to highlight this comment. Pierre has to be calculated in choosing his battles right now. His polling is improving and the Liberals are failing. There's a saying in politics, never interrupt an opponent when he's making a mistake. It would serve you well to dig a bit deeper into its meaning. I replied, how did those calculated moves work in the last election when he went in on a 20-point advantage and lost? Change strategies, conservatives. You really dropping the ball. We were just at the We Unify, and you were told why you can't be followed is because you're too controversial, Marty.
Yeah, I had people want me to out that MP. I guess you can figure it out because you can figure out who was at the We Unify conference. There was a politician, but somebody I took him aside at one point in a friendly chat. And I'm like, how come you don't follow me? How come you don't follow me? And how come Pierre doesn't follow me? And I was very specific. I'm like, I'm an Albertan with an audience of 140,000 people, so maybe you follow me.
Oh, you went silent again. It happened. Yeah, we got you. So yeah, that was the story. So there was an MP there. Sorry, I can't follow you because you're too controversial. You say controversial things. Well, what are the things that Marty and I are saying? Like, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry. He obviously follows me. He immediately opened his phone to my Twitter page. It took him 2 seconds to find it, and then he pointed to one of my tweets. He's like, "What about this?" And immediately I went like, "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow." Retweets and likes does not mean endorsement. So he obviously doesn't understand how the concept works, right? I often like a tweet just so I can re-find it. And then he looked at one of my comments and he made the judgment call on my comment. And I'm like, look at the comments I got. Like I got, I make a comment and I got 4,000 likes and 2,300 replies to it. But you made the judgment call that my comment was politically incorrect. My audience, which is conservative, liked the comment. So he was being a hypocrite because I know he looks at my comments and the reactions I'm getting, but he won't associate with me. And so, and Pierre's doing the same thing. So he's looking at the audience and he's not going to step up. That's called bravery, man. That's called guts. That's called conviction. Like if you think what's happening to the ostriches, forget about what your audience might think of. The old expression, do the right thing when nobody's looking. That's called integrity. If you think what's happening to the ostriches is wrong, then stand up and say it's wrong. And then this whole idea that
I gotta calculate it, Marty. I can't say it. It reminds me of the old poem. It really does. At first they came for the communists and I did nothing, and then they came for the trade unionists and I said nothing, and then they came for the Jews and I said nothing, and then they came for me, and then there was no one left to stand up. Right? It's unbelievable that people are falling for this again. What is the criteria for what is politically incorrect? The liberal point of view. Are we all going to circle the toilet bowl of the liberal point of view and say anything outside of that is politically incorrect and not worthy of conversation on the national scale? No, that's conservatives basically abiding by the rules that the liberals lay out, which box them in a corner, and then they'll never get out of that. That's the end of it.
And do you want to take a guess on the topic that he thought was politically incorrect that I was tweeting about? It's pretty common. It's one of the ones I've been tweeting about the most lately. I was tweeting about immigration.
Oh,
right. Like I'm slamming, and I expect that from the liberals, right? Oh, I'm anti-immigration. No, I'm not anti-immigration. I want immigration to slow down. But being vocal about immigration, guess what that does, right?
Anti-mass immigration.
They immediately label us as racist and a whole bunch of other things. So obviously the minister is like, I'm like, oh, okay. Anyways, you saw my tweet. I said, whatever, keep doing what you're doing if you want to keep losing. And then people are making excuses for Pierre, saying he did everything by the book, but he still lost. He lost. Okay. He lost. Like change the captain,
he did everything by the book. And guess who wrote the book? The liberals. Yeah. The liberals wrote that book for conservatives to lose. And he walked right into it. And he's like, hey, thanks for the rule book that taught me how to not win this game. Like, that's it.
If he plays exactly by his playbook and he makes a statement after the ostriches are dead, I will freak out. I will freak out. Like, I will freak out if he waits. That seems to be what's going to happen right now. Well, anyways, let's not get.
Let's a little good news on that one.
Yes, please.
Has issued a stay of cull order aimed at BC Ostrich Farm. What happens now? Well, it goes to the Supreme Court. That's what happens now. So it's going to go to a higher court, which they were awarded a stay, and then it was, then it's delayed, and then they went to go do it, and then they were ordered to stay, and then they went to go do it, and then they ordered a stay to the Supreme Court, and then we wait until they're about to go do it again. It's really. This is just putting it off. It's kicking it down the road.
Yeah.
This isn't permanent by any means.
And we're going to move off this topic in a second, but just for the viewers, just pay attention to a couple of things, right? Pay attention to the language that is being used by officers and others, and pay attention to like the theatrics, right? Like for days and days and days, there was dozens of officers walking around, no problem. Everybody was super cool. And then all of a sudden today, everybody showed up in white hazmat suits, right? So now they're trying to like pay attention to that kind of stuff, right? They're going to change it, right? It's like, ooh, now we gotta protect ourselves. They're going to change the narrative now and try and go to that these things are dangerous and so forth. They're like, oh my god. Hey, if I'm unfortunately I'm going hunting this week. I'm going hunting, and that's, you know, I got to put meat on the table, and I can't fight every battle for everyone. I think I put up a good fight on this one. I think I helped get a lot of traction. You and I helped get a lot of traction on this. When I come back from hunting next week, if the ostriches are still alive, I will definitely go and set up camp at the farm with some of the other people.
Okay. Well, that's you heard that here first, folks.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's really something.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that goes. 2 weeks or 10 days, you'll be gone, right?
Yeah, 10 days. Sometimes
10
I
days.
come back early if I that was the other thing. Like people said, like, you're pro, I'm going to hunt moose, right? And people are like, oh, so it's okay to kill moose, but it's not okay to kill ostriches. Like, I'm like, oh my god, people, like, stop with the mental gymnastics. Like, really,
That's awful.
really,
That's really stupid.
stop. Like, god. Yeah, that's the state we're at. I mean, I am discouraged about the state of the country. I am discouraged that that our governments keep doing these shows of force and these kind of stuff, and people, some of the people, like, I'm okay with people criticizing me. That's okay. I don't mind people criticizing me, but when people criticizing me by purposely defending the government, I get like, that's a bizarre strategy. Ooh, the government's right and you're wrong. I'm like, holy shit. Like, it's as if what you and I are doing, like challenging the government, is now suddenly, that's Stockholm syndrome, man. Like, there are people in this country, you're too far gone, folks. They're too far gone. Like, when you're defending the government at every turn, like, I expect Rosie O'Donnell or Rosie Barton to do that. I expect Rachel Gilmore to do that, but I don't expect Joe Public to constantly be defending the government.
Well, that's it, and they do, and even down south, man. Just some, you've got the Stockholm syndrome up here, and we got TDS down south. Did you hear the announcement from Donald Trump about Tylenol?
Yes. Oh my god. Okay, that was a bit lost in the whole comedic week that we've. No, actually, it wasn't comedic. This week was serious, but that was a bit comedic. The Tylenol thing. Yes, please enlighten everyone.
Okay, this is it, and this is Brian Allen, a total libtard on X. Because I found the clip here saying, breaking, Donald Trump and RFK just warned pregnant women to stop using Tylenol, claiming it causes autism. This is your new Surgeon General, brought to you by a guy who once told the people to inject bleach, which is false. I don't know. Again, it was another one of those narratives that they spun up, which is crazy. But this is what he said.
Be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups, the Amish as an example. They have essentially no autism. First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy, can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good.
Not good.
I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary.
So this is not it. That's not a crazy statement to make. Like, okay, so they've discovered that Tylenol is not great for women in pregnancy. It can cause a number of issues, and now they're even saying that there could be links to autism. Is that a crazy statement?
It's not a crazy statement, but I'll play devil's advocate on this one. I'm currently at the point where I won't take advice from even the president of the United States. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to
Right.
drugs now, I'm at the point where like it's like, okay, it's a statement by the president. Take it with a grain of salt. Do your own studies. That's what I tell people. You know. But what I find more interesting in this story was the reaction, like the people on the left that are like, they're purposely taking like copious amounts of Tylenol. I'm like, you guys are losing your mind, man. Like if somebody told me that DDT is dangerous, I wouldn't go, fuck you, Donald Trump, sorry, and then drink DDT to prove him wrong. Like people are nuts, man.
But they did that last presidency when he mentioned about like a certain thing.
Like, can you imagine
bleach.
doing this online? Like, hey, like I'm gonna show you Donald and like take a whole bunch of Tylenol. Like that's insane.
While pregnant too, like
Yeah.
what? So, and it's not just Donald Trump that's making this announcement. So, well, here's one. Tylenol themselves back in March 7th, 2017 said, we actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns today. This is a thing, but this is the thing.
Yeah.
There are connections to it, but there are actual physicians that are saying that this is not good. So I found this one physician who is talking specifically about this. I won't play the whole video. She gets to it pretty quick. Here it is.
Family. So let's talk about Tylenol. I'm literally out here in the garden, but the timing is what it is. So why is Tylenol associated with autism? First, if you don't know me, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I have a PhD in cellular and molecular biology from University of Michigan that was done in the Department of Immunology. And I have been studying the childhood schedule and injections for about 10 years hardcore now. So Tylenol is associated with autism because it depletes the body's major antioxidant, glutathione. Glutathione is what mops up inflammation in the body. And when the body is critically depleted of it, it either goes septic or, especially in young or premature infants, they can actually pass away. It can cause things like SIDS. So the maintenance of glutathione is extremely important. And even doing something like mom taking vitamin C as a supplement while she's nursing can be critical in helping mom and the baby to resupply glutathione. So what happens is if your body doesn't have enough glutathione, it gets extremely inflamed and it just can't handle cellular stress. And the inflamed state of the brain is what is highly associated with neurological disorders such as autism or ADHD.
So, I mean, that spells it out pretty clear, and that's not some fringe scientist. It's like crazy pants. Yeah. This is a real thing. It's a real concern. So heed that sort of advice, right? When it comes.
And I'll also, I think it's also pretty scientifically documented that there is an increase in autism in the last 30 years, right? I mean, there's way more of it than there used to be. So there definitely is something either in the environment or in the food or in the drugs. There's something causing it, right? I'm sure there is, because it's I mean, when I was in school, I don't remember people being autistic. But apparently they're all around us. Well, they vote liberal. I mean, there's a whole ton of them. Like,
we got a bunch on our side, though. They're really good at finding shooters. Internet.
I'll tell you this, though. I'll be serious about this. I grew up in the generation that feared Tylenol. I for the longest time I had a sort of this weird fear of Tylenol, and I avoided it. It took a lot of convincing for somebody to get me to start taking Tylenol again. It was one of my buddies who's a paramedic. And when I hike now, I used to only bring Advil because I get sore while hiking now. I mean, I get swollen and I get everything. And now my buddy convinced me, he's like, do the Tylenol Advil cocktail. So I do the Tylenol Advil cocktail. Like, you take one Advil, you wait an hour, then you take a Tylenol, wait an hour, then an Advil, then a Tylenol. You kind of let them, they both complement each other. And I swear to God, for me, for knee pain and things like that, it just works wonders. I suffer when I get home, but on the trail, it's good.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've never done that. But I'll tell you some other.
But I mean, Tylenol. You remember that? Like, you might be just a little bit too young to remember the Tylenol story, right? Like, somebody poisoned Tylenol. Like, There was a lot of people were killed by Tylenol in the U.S. Somebody tampered with Tylenol and put poison in there, and then we had a string of people get killed in several cities in the U.S. simultaneously because somebody tampered with Tylenol. I can't remember the story, if it was a disgruntled former employee or somebody like that. And Tylenol took a long time to recover from that problem.
Well, that's crazy. I know right now there's a lot of people getting hurt from Tylenol because they're trying to stick it to Donald Trump. And no, I'm not kidding.
I know. I saw it.
The amount of people that are going to hospital with liver damage now is just off the chain. It's like, what is wrong with people? And even what is it? Canada Health is just lost their friggin' minds. They put this out today saying, Canada Health PHAC is saying acetaminophen is recommended treatment for fever and drug pain during pregnancy. Learn more. And even the CBC was saying this, but guess what? Ryan Garrettson found this old thing from 4 years ago where the CBC didn't suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. Have a listen here.
In a new consensus statement, international scientists insist there's a growing body of research suggesting acetaminophen could increase the risks of certain neurodevelopmental, reproductive, and urogenital disorders, adding the drug could be linked to conditions such as ADHD and fertility issues.
It's important to realize that acetaminophen is a drug, like any other drug.
Along with Tyler.
But that was 4 years ago when they didn't lose their minds. So we're in a different frame of things.
Ladies, here's my bit of advice. Ladies, when you're pregnant, don't take anything. Like when you're pregnant, stop smoking, stop drinking, stop taking copious amounts of drugs, stop doing heroin, whatever the hell. Just eat healthy eat healthy and exercise. Like it's pretty common sense, right? Like
natal vitamins and stuff like that. You go for that.
A couple of things, but I mean, basically, when you're pregnant, eat healthy, eat a little bit more because you're feeding two people, and let nature sort of more or less do its thing, and don't take a whole ton of drugs.
And I'm not saying you got to listen to Donald Trump, but don't do the exact opposite of what Donald Trump says either.
Just to spite him, that's hilarious, right? Like, if Donald Trump says smoking cigarettes causes cancer, like, did they all rush out and start smoking 15 cigarettes to prove him wrong? No. So why would you have done that with Tylenol? Like, you're an idiot. Like, I'm going to prove Donald Trump wrong. What a world we live in, Clyde. Hey, before we switch over to the last bit,
you got 1 minute.
There was good news there was good news with the ostriches today, and there was a bit of news that I did not see coming. And one of the saviors for the ostriches was the First Nations of British Columbia. I mean, I did not have that on my bingo card today.
Yeah, that's good, and it's good, and it's at the same time when the natives have that much pull that they can kibosh something that's already put in motion. That means they could probably do that with pipelines and all kinds of other things too. So they have, right? I mean, they have.
Yeah,
they will.
But
they will.
I'll say usually they go against me. So in this one, they were on my team. So thank you for doing that, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Well, we'll get to the rest of the questions. We'll talk more about the We Unify conference in the Q&A section of this live stream. If you're watching this after the fact, you got to tune into the live stream. That's when it happens. It's every Wednesday, normally every Wednesday at 6:30 Pacific time. That's 9:30 Eastern. Tune in. If you're watching on Twitter, head on over to the YouTube channel, be part of the chat so you can jump in, and we're going to be talking for probably another hour and a half at least. So get on over there. And if you're here already, well, stick around because we're not going anywhere. We'll see you guys in the next one. But Marty, where can people find you?
Marty Up North on X, and after today I'm back on YouTube. I guess I did a couple of videos on YouTube that spiked, so run on over to YouTube and check me out there too as well.
All right, links are in the description down below.